See, that's the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission. Very regrettable that he had to leave, but he gave me his good reasons for leaving quite early. I should have loved him to be here, to hear a few things and then maybe have an interactive session that will help our very wonderful aviation journalists in this hall. Let's move to page 3. Get me page 3 so that we can start with the introduction straight away. It is my pleasure to be in Ataca seminar again to share knowledge. In order to fully understand the threats and opportunities associated with the financing and development of aviation infrastructure, we must have a full grasp of the definition of infrastructure, the nature of its ownership, and its financing. My distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if you take a look at the photo embedded there is solar panels at the international airport at Kochi, India. The world's first airport to be fully, and I mean fully, powered by solar energy, India. It's number 1. And I don't know if anybody has ever flown into either Lagos or Abuja. Just as you're about to zero into the wrong way, the airplane gets back with full power and not back in the sky because power suddenly went off. And if the pilot does not abort that landing, the likelihood would be that he would kill everyone in the airplane. But here we are, enjoying 90% of the year good sunlight. And yet, we grapple with issues of electric power. And there you go. That's one in India, fully powered by solar. What we can do here, and we can afford, by the way, as a nation. Let's move to clip 4, or page 4 rather. Definition of infrastructure. Infrastructure can be defined as the basic systems and services that are necessary for a country or an organization to run smoothly. Aviation infrastructure is therefore defined as the basic systems and services that are necessary for the smooth running of air transportation. Infrastructure is composed of public and private physical improvements such as roads, bridges, tunnels, water supplies, sewers, electric grids, telecommunications, etc. Infrastructure can be viewed in 2 general types: hard or soft infrastructure. Hard infrastructure refers to the physical networks necessary for the functioning of a modern industry. This includes roads, bridges, railways, etc. Rather, a couple of other ones. Page 5, please, yes. Definition of infrastructure continues. Soft infrastructure refers to all the institutions that maintain the economic, health, social, and cultural standards of a country. This includes educational programs, parks, and recreational facilities, law enforcement agencies, and emergency services. Those are what we know as soft infrastructure. Although the word infrastructure was imported from French in 1875 and used in English since 1887, urban planners adopted it in its modern civilian sense only in 1970. Does it surprise you? If you take a look at that photograph embedded there, that is a passenger terminal building at Incheon International Airport, Incheon, South Korea. An amazing airport. As a matter of fact, magical. We can afford it, by the way, as a nation. We just choose to do nothing. Page 6. Infrastructure ownership. Infrastructure may be owned by government or by private companies. Roads, major ports, airports, water distribution systems, sewage networks are usually publicly owned. But energy and telecommunication networks are usually privately owned. While publicly owned infrastructure may be financed from taxes, tolls, or metered user fees, private infrastructure is usually paid for by metered user fees. For major investment projects, issuance of long-term bonds provides the necessary liquidity for financing them. We're continuing with infrastructure investment categories. There are various infrastructure investment categories. A, infrastructure debt. This is a complex investment category reserved for highly sophisticated investors who can gauge jurisdiction-specific risk parameters, assess a project's long-term viability, understand transaction risks, conduct due diligence, negotiate creditors' agreements, make timely decisions on consents and waivers, and analyze loan performance over time. B, pensions and sovereign wealth funds. These are major investors in infrastructure. They have long-dated liabilities which match long-term investments such as infrastructure. During our interactive session and question and answers, please, anybody that's bothered about anything you're hearing, take notes and then ask me questions when we're done, and I'll be able to tear them down a little bit more. This is coincides just for the purpose of saving time. I remember last Ataca session last year, I was chased out of the podium. Were you there? I was practically chased away, so this time I made it coincide. 8, please. Yes. C, supranational and public investors. Keep that in mind. I need somebody to ask me what we mean by supranational. The IMF, World Bank, and European Commission policymakers in recent years have shown interest in the idea of supranational and public co-investments in infrastructure projects jointly with private institutional asset owners. D, foreign ownership of public assets. Infrastructure nationalism. Very interesting, my distinguished men and women of the press that cover aviation. Infrastructure nationalism has been considered risk by experts, and that seems to be what we practice here. We often think that we must use our money to build our infrastructure, but I say to you, no. Dubai has not spent 1 naira of its own internally gained money in all the beautiful things you see in that country that have been so wonderfully developed only in the past 25 years. And so that is the problem or the risk in infrastructure nationalism, and we're going to discuss that further after this presentation. It has been considered risky by experts. For long-term success of the infrastructure asset class, steady investment flows from foreign pension and sovereign funds are needed. And there are quite a lot of them out there looking for where to put in long-term money for long-term projects of infrastructure. We're just not putting our acts together in this country. That's why we're always looking for money. There's money out there. too much of it. ICAO told us this same thing last year when the first meeting of ICAO, that is the International Civil Aviation Organization, that held in Abuja, the first since 1944 outside Canada. And we were lucky to be the ones to host. The very first since 1944. Took place last year here in Abuja, and we were told in blunt, clear language, there's plenty of money out there to develop our aviation infrastructure, but we need to put our acts together. Nobody has asked questions since then. We're still waiting. Page 9. Infrastructure asset management. How an asset will perform in objective and measurable terms is described by Standard of Service, SOS. SOS defines the service that a customer is entitled to receive. It also includes definition of a minimum condition grade, which is established by considering the consequences of a failure of the infrastructure asset. Key components of infrastructure asset management include 1. Definition of a standard service. 2. Establishment of measurable specifications of how the asset should perform. 3. Establishment of a minimum condition grade. 4. Establishment of a whole life cost approach to managing the asset. 5. Elaboration of an asset management plan. Page 10, please. Establishment of Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, ICRC. Very awesome, very robust law that set up that wonderful organization. In order to ensure that the provision and financing of infrastructure in Nigeria, especially the aviation infrastructure, provides more opportunities than threats, the federal government of Nigeria, in her wisdom, established the ICRC in the year 2005. The ICRC Act 2005 provides for the participation of the private sector in financing the construction, development, operation, or maintenance of infrastructure or development projects of the federal government through concession or contractual arrangements, and the establishment of ICRC to regulate, monitor, and supervise the contracts on infrastructure or development projects. 11. Opportunities in the financing and development of aviation infrastructure in Nigeria. The ICRC Act 2005 is an awesome and robust piece of legislation. If well implemented, there is no reason any infrastructure should be unattended to in Nigeria. Some of the interesting provisions that contractors and business proponents can take advantage of include: 1. Part 1, Section 1, Subsection 1 of the ICRC Act provides that the project must be financially viable. All investment and development projects in Nigeria are up for grabs by anyone or corporate body with financial capability to perform. That you find in Section 1, Subsection 2 of the ICRC Act of 2005. So, my distinguished lovely ladies and gentlemen of the press covering aviation, you can actually choose an aspect that you want to deal with, get some foreign partners and come in and say to the federal government of Nigeria, I want this. And the ICRC Act permits you to get it as long as you qualify technically and financially. That is what this act is doing, and I'm sure 80% of Nigerians that can afford it do not know that this law is existing. All the number, here she comes.
Start by NAFDAC. There is also a guideline